And hang on,
So
I'm gonna-
the patient's case will be found in the lab.
It'll be a red case and it'll have their name on it. Dustin, number 9.
found in the lab.
And it'll be in the lab. Yep.
All the instruments will be found in sterilization or in the tray staging area where we normally get our trays. This is a combination of a surgery kit and an exam kit. The surgical guide and the implant kit will be found in the implant tub in the cabinet.
Oh, not in here.
And they're wrapped in blue wrapper?
They are. So all of this, everything that's instrumentation is going to be towards sterilization. So the hardest part for the assistant is really just making sure that we get that surgical guide in place. And then holding the guide in place and at the same time making sure that our surgical kit is held firmly in place.
So the assistant's gonna place one hand on the guide itself in the mouth.
Yeah. Whatever hands are available. Sometimes I can hold this and drill. Sometimes I can't. Usually anterior I can. Anterior cases are easy, compared to posterior, as far as room and access and stuff. So in this case, I can probably hold that, or you would have to hold it. But yeah, you hold this, and then your other hand, you'd have suction, and get the suction. At the same time, you're giving the patient comfort. You're making sure the patient's doing okay. You're asking, everything okay? Okay, this is what we're doing. And some people say, I don't want to know, and whatever. But we offer the information. They can refuse it. That's fine.
So doctor will go in with the first drill, that's the 2.3. Then in this particular case, since it has to go all the way to the hub, we would take this out. Doctor would finish drilling with that first drill. Then it gets turned over to the next size up, 2.8. That goes right back into the surgical guide.
And will doctor be placing that?
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll just.
No, or you can, it doesn't matter. If I'm putting my drill in and this isn't ready to go, then you have to make sure that's ready to go.
So for this case, you would drill in, take this out, and then you could finish drilling up to the hub. Then you move to the next size up. We always keep these in their size order so that you don't have to guess. This first one is your first one you're going to use. Second one, third, fourth, if you need it.
The holes get bigger. You can see which ones because they get bigger. They're also color coded for size.
So for this particular case, we only go up to the 3.4. So then we would go, that's the next one, and then 3.8 you can see is bigger.
So this is a green implant, and I think the green and the green match. Otherwise, we'd have a pink implant with a pink top. Just
So that indicates your last size.
yeah.
Correct.
The color.
The last size is always smaller than the implant. We don't want the drill hole being the same size as the implant. The implant we put in a larger implant than what the hole is.
And another important thing to keep in mind while doctor's working, while he's switching drills, if the surgical guide happens to come off, that's a great opportunity to take some of your 2x2 to dab your surgical site. It helps keep blood from pooling in your site, and it helps keep the area clean so the doctor has good visibility of the working site.
Notice that the suction we're using is a surgical suction instead of a high-speed vac. We have a surgical suction with a smaller tip. And then we have the slow speed there, which is generally sucking up the water. There is a little catch. I mean, obviously everything, there's a little bit of a catch. for implants that stop at 3.7, then this system works really well, just the way it is. But when the implant is bigger, if we're doing like a diameter of an implant, let's say it's a 4.7 implant, then those are really big fat implants. And so the drill holes get bigger and we have to put spacers. We take these little rings. This instrument holds rings. I'll just put the rings back on. There should be 4 rings. Looks like there's 3 here, but there might be a 4th one on one of them. And then the rings get placed on, this goes into the surgical guide, right? So that surface goes into the surgical guide. But when you see how tight that is? There's no movement on this one. But when do you know when you have to use those rings? You'll take your 2.3, you stick it in, and it'll be huge movement. It'll just be too big. And that means you need these rings. These rings then are spacers, and they allow those first 3 drills that are small, it allows them to fit in the same hole, because the implants just get really, you see the difference? I mean, it's a big implant, right? So the hole has to change shape. And so we have 4 rings because it's the first 4 sizes that need the spacers, and after that, these big ones don't need spacers.